Part 2. Blood Moon Conflict. The scent of decay lingered in the air as the moon rose, casting an eerie crimson glow over the desolate landscape. My heart pounded in my chest, a rapid rhythm matching the anticipation that had been building within me. The battle between vampires and werewolves was about to erupt, and I found myself standing at the precipice of an age-old war that had plagued our kind for centuries. As a vampire, I had always prided myself on my ability to stay hidden in the shadows, manipulating and feeding off the fear of humans who wandered too close. But tonight, there was no hiding. The blood moon, a rare celestial event that intensified our powers and heightened our bloodlust, had arrived. It was said that during this time, the boundaries between the supernatural realms blurred, and the thirst for power consumed both vampires and werewolves alike. I gazed across the clearing, my eyes locking onto the figures emerging from the depths of the forest. Werewolves, their fur bristling in the eerie light, gathered in packs with a primal unity that sent shivers down my spine. On the other side, my fellow vampires stood in a cold and calculated formation, fangs glistening as they bared their teeth in a silent declaration of our dominance. The tension in the air was palpable as the leaders of each faction stepped forward. Celine, a powerful vampire elder with eyes that glowed like molten gold, faced off against Fenrir, a massive werewolf with scars etched into his fur, marking his countless battles. The hatred between them was a tangible force, a hatred born from centuries of bloodshed and revenge. A low growl rumbled through the ranks of the werewolves, and I felt my own fangs extend involuntarily. The primal instincts that had been suppressed by centuries of civilization surged to the surface, mingling with the intoxicating pull of the blood moon. The thirst for power was overwhelming, a desire that threatened to consume everything I had once known. Without warning, the first attack came. Werewolves lunged forward, their bodies transforming mid-air as they closed the distance with lightning speed. Vampires met them in a flurry of fangs and claws, a chaotic clash of supernatural strength. I found myself swept into the chaos, the thrill of battle drowning out the screams and roars that echoed through the night. My senses heightened as I fought, the world around me reduced to a blur of motion and violence. The scent of blood was overpowering, a heady aroma that only fueled my frenzy. I could hear the howls of the werewolves and the hisses of the vampires, a cacophony of primal instincts at war. In the midst of the chaos, I caught sight of Celine and Fenrir locked in a deadly embrace. Their movements were fluid and deadly, a dance of power and hatred that had spanned centuries. It was a battle of wills as much as it was a physical confrontation, a testament to the enduring enmity between our kinds. As the night wore on, exhaustion began to gnaw at my limbs, the frenzied pace of battle taking its toll. The lines between friend and foe blurred as the moon's influence tightened its grip on our minds. But even in the midst of the chaos, a realization began to seep in. This cycle of violence, this endless feud, had to end. We were all slaves to the same thirst, the same desire for dominance. With a final surge of energy, I forced myself to the forefront of the battle. My voice cut through the madness, a desperate plea for reason amidst the chaos. Slowly, the clashes began to cease as both sides turned their attention toward me. It was a risk, exposing myself to the potentially lethal intentions of my own kind, but the weight of centuries of bloodshed bore down on me. "We are not just vampires and werewolves," I shouted, my voice carrying over the silent battlefield. "We are creatures of the night, bound by our nature but also by our shared struggles. The blood moon's power may consume us, but we have the power to break this cycle of violence. We can forge a new path, a path where we coexist." For a moment, the night hung in suspended tension, the weight of my words sinking in, and then slowly the tension began to ease. Werewolves and vampires exchanged wary glances, the thirst for power beginning to wane. The moon's crimson glow seemed to lose its grip as the first rays of dawn broke over the horizon. As the light of day overcame the darkness, a fragile truce settled over the battlefield. We had survived the blood moon, and in its wake, something new had been born. A spark of hope, a glimmer of understanding that perhaps one day vampires and werewolves could find a way to coexist in a world that had been steeped in enmity. And so, the battle that had raged for centuries came to an uneasy pause. The horror of that night would forever be etched into our memories, a reminder of the darkness that lay within your